All right, welcome to the runningrestaurants.com podcast, where we bring you the tips, tools, and techniques you need to make your restaurant more profitable and successful. I'm your host, Jamie Oikle, and today I'm with Audrey Hogan of TimeForge. So Audrey, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So hey, let's go right into what you guys do. So if you don't mind, give us a quick introduction about TimeForge, and then of course we'll dig into some of the trends out there.
Yeah, TimeForge is a labor management platform. So we do employee scheduling, timekeeping, HR, compliance for like California, Pennsylvania, all those fun states that have always interesting new rules. And our niche is really focusing on how the sales can drive labor and how you can really tighten up that budget.
Gotcha. COVID, obviously impacting everybody. We're dealing with way too many months of it and probably way too many months more to come. What has labor management, let's kind of say the question here, what has changed with labor management due to COVID? What are some of the things you see with clients?
Everything has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From hiring, from knowing whether you need to hire, trying to figure out your staffing levels, making sure you've got lots of extra people for when half of your staff call in the same morning. Reporting has changed. Obviously, sales have changed. The whole process has changed. The whole industry's had to be really agile.
So kind of interestingly, right? You guys are I probably built at this point very mobile centric, I'm guessing, because everyone has the phone, and right. Which would be good, I'm guessing, because of these quick changes that happen. Like you said, three people could call out in the morning or hit an app and say they're not being able to come in. And so people need to react quickly, get messaging out quickly. What does it look like? What does the back and forth look like? How does someone manage these changes when they use your system? What does it look like?
Yeah, well, it's, the basic same best practices are still in play, and everyone's trying to make sure that they're still maintaining those. Scheduling with more than a couple days notice for your employees still matters, right? Trying not to change the schedule at the last minute still matters. The hard part, especially in the highly regulatory states, is that the stores are having to be a lot more agile than they have been in the past, right? They don't know what's going to happen from day to day, or often this year they haven't known what's going to happen from day to day. So it has relied a lot more on the communication pieces, to your point. So with our platform, we help with that by, the employee app, right? You can send a message to the employee, it pops up on their app, it says, hey, can you come fill in the shift this afternoon? Turns out we've actually got a catering order, and so we need you to come in and help fill that. What we're seeing a lot of customers figure out how to do is really get everyone at the store to fulfill more roles than they're used to. Mm-hmm. Trying to make sure that your servers have enough cash, so they're going to be doing some of the delivery orders for you, right? It's really been kind of making sure that everyone is helping each other fulfill their immediate needs. Just trying to get through the week is what we're seeing a lot more.
Yeah, delivery has changed for restaurants dramatically, and everybody's gotten involved. All hands on deck to make that happen. Anything you've had to do specifically around delivery stuff? That's kind of curious.
Yeah. No, e-com's been a huge factor for everybody, right? Anyone who didn't have some kind of online ordering or delivery option or pickup option has really had to add that this year. And so one of the things that we've been kind of having fun with, exploring so that we can solve and are solving is how it's handling, how stores can handle packing the order, right, and getting it out the door. How you can predict those orders. Is your point of sale pulling in all of your online orders and your call ahead orders, and pairing that all in so that you've got one centralized place to look at what your volume is going to be, so you know how many people to schedule, right? Like those kinds of problems, you plug in some kind of online ordering platform as hard and fast as you can, and you don't think about whether you're going to be able to predict what those sales are going to be, right? And so that's where we've been stepping in, is trying to be kind of a hub where we need to for certain customers to make sure that all of that data is coming to the same place so we can figure out what your schedule should be for your coverage.
Yeah, listen. So tech challenge there to do that. I'm curious what what that might look like. But the predicting sales piece, I think probably would be very interesting for restaurants always, but especially now where that flow has completely changed. You can't pull up last year's numbers now and try to predict what's going to happen this week. So, what are some tricks or tips that you're kind of sharing with clients around those sort of predictions?
Yeah, so we actually have a sales forecasting engine. So we our tool uses machine learning algorithms
Hmm.
and actually predicts the sales for you, so you don't have to. And it's actually really good at that. But some of the stuff that we've had to do is make sure that those are looking at more recent trends, right? Year over year doesn't matter this year. It kind of matters around the holidays, but on a typical week, last week has a much bigger impact than looking at the same week last year, right? So we've had to tune our algorithms, and we have some customers that or partners that we've worked with out in the field that we're going, hey, year over year doesn't matter. Typically, you've gone year over year and looked the last 6 weeks of data and run an average, and that's your prediction. And that doesn't work this year, right?
Yeah, is it similar story around labor challenges? What are you guys seeing there?
Yeah, it depends a little bit on the industry. Obviously, some of the more niche restaurant groups that we're working with have a different take on it, but kind of as an industry average, yeah, you're trying to make sure, right? Everyone's goal is to not have to fire anyone, right? And everyone's goal is just to keep the doors open, right? And so we're seeing a lot of people, again, back to just everyone being cross trained, right? If you've got a high tenure employee who's been there for 10 years and they're really valuable to your organization, you don't want to let them go. Maybe they're going to have to help with those delivery orders. Maybe they're going to have to fill in as a line cook sometimes. And so being able to track that cross training has been a really, really, really big deal this year.
Hmm.
Because if you're not keeping up and your system doesn't know who can do what, then you can't be proactive with that kind of agility, I guess. Yeah.
Question about some it kind of relates to that because you guys do everything I believe that the app. I mean, it starts from hiring and onboarding, and then some other features. The one that I wanted to ask you about was it's kind of the logbook aspect of making notes about the system so that the managers can share information with employees and vice versa and so forth. I really think that can be a big tool right now in terms of communication. How have you seen that?
Yeah. We've the logbook is definitely important, right? Making sure you've got those shift change notes. Nobody comes into a mess that they didn't know about before they show up for when your managers are swapping out in the middle of the day. The task management's been huge this year because of the COVID regulatory stuff, right? You need to make sure that someone's wiping down
Mhm.
all of the hot spots in the restaurant, and the cash registers, wiping down the Clorox wipe periodically, the temperature tracking, right? When people are clocking in and out, like that's been huge. We had to add that to our software. Last year, if you asked me if we could add temperature tracking, I would have laughed in your face, right?
That's right.
Um, so we've had to help everybody figure out how to kind of navigate this new thing as we figure it out together, kind of as an industry.
Yeah.
The task tracking's been, I think, really helpful. We have that task management platform that people are using just to keep up with stuff, right? You've got to log that it was done, and so that matters.
Yeah. The other aspect of it that is not, not the fun stuff, the compliance stuff, overtime, breaks, all that stuff. How does your tool look and work with that stuff?
Yeah, so we do. Yeah, those regulations have not slowed down, right? Like California didn't decide, hey, COVID's going on, so we're going to stop issuing meal penalties, right? Like that'd be nice. That didn't happen. And so we focus really on kind of compliance as it relates to operations, right? We're not your typical HRIS. We're not pushing down policies and then telling operations to go figure out how to implement them and keep up with them on a day-to-day basis. So like California is a great example, right? Meal penalties, rest penalties. If someone's not taking their 30-minute lunch when they're supposed to, you have to pay them an extra arbitrary hour of pay, right? They took 29 minutes. You've got to give them that extra arbitrary hour of pay. And small businesses, like, first of all, that's really, really expensive. And second of all, half of the time employers don't even know that they're on the hook for that. So they're not tracking it and they're opening themselves up to all sorts of legislation down the road that can be incredibly expensive. So we automate that whole process, right? Something operations shouldn't have to worry about on a daily basis, but obviously gets tossed on their shoulders. Other big stuff that's coming around the bend or has come through in 2020, that predicted scheduling going on in Pennsylvania, right? It's around the bend for California, we're all sure. If you're not scheduling your employees with at least 14, some places 21 days notice, you're going to be paying some penalties. You're going to be paying them every time you adjust the schedule within that 14-day window. I mean, it gets really expensive really quickly if your organization hasn't proactively been scheduling pretty far out. So it's time to make the switch.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The last thing anybody likes to do is pay fees for mistakes and for doing nothing. We want to keep the money, not give it away to anybody, or especially in this case, the government stuff. So we hit a lot there. Anything that you guys do that I didn't touch on real quick, you kind of want to end with?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned overtime. So we help with all of the overtime calculations. Again, the whole point of the tool is just to automate all of the stuff that can be, and then present all of the information to managers that's actionable so they can do their jobs without dealing with all the little stuff.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, good. Then as we wrap up, go ahead and send them to wherever you guys are out there, websites, social stuff. Maybe you got other download stuff, demos. What do you got?
Yeah, it's timeforge.com is the website. And there's lots of resources there. There's lists of different point of sales that we integrate with. Always feel free to reach out. You can use the contact form on the website, and I'll actually get pinged if you want to talk to me. So.
Good. So if you want to find Audrey, go ahead over there, ping her and chat it up. So good stuff. All right, folks, that was Audrey Hogan of TimeForge. You can find them on the web there at timeforge.com. For more great restaurant marketing, operations, service, people, and tech tips, stay tuned to us here at runningrestaurants.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.